Hi guys, I'm Chef Shreeya from Sushi and More, Mumbai, India. My forte is Japanese food and today I'm going to show you how to make Zaru Soba. Zaru Soba is a very simple dish made out of buckwheat noodles that is enjoyed highly during the summer months in Japan. Firstly, I'm going to use soba, which is about 150 grams. Next, I'm going to use about 4 parts of dashi or stock. You can use veg or fish stock for this matter. This is 1 part of soy sauce. This is Japanese dark soy sauce. 1 part of mirin. Mirin is a sweet cooking wine or sake. And if you don't get mirin, you can add some sugar to dry white wine also. Next, I'm going to use some julians of seaweed or nori. This goes as a garnish. And lastly, for accompanying the subtle taste of the broth that goes with the soba, there is chopped leeks. You can substitute this with chopped spring onions. There's some white sesame seeds to give it that crunchiness and nuttiness, and some wasabi to give it a little punch. So in order to make this recipe, first we need to boil the soba. I have a pot of boiling water here. Put it in like you do for spaghetti, but make sure that you spread it out. There's no salting required because the soba itself has a little salt in it, so otherwise if you add more salt it gets too salty. So actually for this dish there are 3 components. One, it's the soba or the noodle itself. The second is the broth, the dipping broth, and the third are the accompaniments. The same thing could be served hot and it could be served with other noodles like udon. Udon is a thicker variety of noodle made out of whole wheat, and then otherwise you could use somen. Somen are very thin noodles made out of whole wheat. There are different flavors of soba also that come in. Some are the green tea soba or the cha soba, which could be served exactly the same way. There are even wakame flavored udon or wakame flavored soba. Wakame is seaweed again. Be gentle with handling soba, otherwise the strands are going to break. So the vigorous boiling is required so that the soba rolls in the water and cooks evenly. If there's too less water or the container is too small, then there'll be parts of the soba that won't cook. In order to check whether your noodle is done or not, just pick up a strand. Put it in a bowl of cold water that has been set aside and just break it open. If they're still white, then it's still underdone. For individual packets, there are individual instructions given. To just be on a safer side, follow the instructions on the packet. If I'm serving this hot, then I would keep the noodle slightly underdone because you're putting it into the hot broth. The broth itself will cook the noodle a little more. So in order to prevent carryover cooking, I'll keep it a little underdone. But here we are serving it cold, hence I'll keep it perfect. So switch off the flame. I'm going to immediately strain out the soba. And right after that, just plunge it in cold water. Make sure that you run through the strands very well so that the heat is dissipated. Next we get on to the sauce. I'm going to use about 4 parts of stock or dashi. You can use both fish stock or vegetable stock. 1 part of dark Japanese soy sauce. And 1 part of mirin to balance out the saltiness. And to get all the other flavors together. Give it a quick stir and let all the ingredients come to a boil. So once that's done, you let it cool down and then you can go straight away to serving it. So now I have got all the ingredients and all the stuff that I require for plating of this dish. Also my broth has cooled down and so has my noodles. So I'll just drain off the excess water. I shall pour the broth into this pretty looking container here. For the noodle, to carefully pick it up. Make sure that the excess water has drained out. If you notice that I have this mat here on the plate, that again acts as a draining agent for any kind of moisture that's there on the noodle. And lastly, I'm just going to garnish it with some fine julians of seaweed or nori here. While having this, people just generally pick up the noodle, they dip it in the sauce, and or they add these ingredients to the sauce itself and then just dip the noodles and slurp it in. The perfect recipe to cool off in the summer months, simple yet refreshing Zaru Soba. If you like this recipe, do subscribe to India Food Network. For any queries, comments, or if you have any suggestions, or if you want me to make any recipe in Japanese food, do write in. I'll be most happy to assist. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.